All right, so what about now?
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, that's good. Otherwise, we cannot have the workshop if you cannot hear me. All right, I guess we will start in 5 minutes.
واخر استخدامه كان نفس اليوم طيب.
Right. I would like to thank you all for making the time to attend this workshop, and I hope it will be useful for you at the end. Actually, we only have 1.5 hours. It may not be enough, but nonetheless, we'll try to cover as many aspects as possible. So the title of this workshop is the External Grant Writing Proposal. So here the word external, I mean, also, so this workshop also apply for any type of grant, either it is external or internal, because the same approach, the same techniques is used in writing any grant, but nonetheless, the focus is actually in writing the grant. So why do I need to apply for a grant? So applying for the grant, so a grant is like a main CV item. It is sorry, I need to remove this. So why it is important to apply for a grant? The grant is a main CV item. So when you write your own CV, I mean, of course, since you are doing a postgraduate degree, then it is assumed that you aim to pursue an academic job in the future. So if you look at any academic, if you look at CV for any academics, you will most likely you will see an item called grants or previous funds. So grants are as important as other items in the CV, like your applications, like your publication. So it's very important to plan or to start your grant activity as early as possible in your career. So at this stage, if you are a PhD student or a master student, you may not have the option to apply for a grant yet, but nonetheless, you can work with your supervisor or advisor in certain aspects for in applying for a grant. So why applying for a grant is important? A grant tells the people that your work or ideas has been positively evaluated by experts in the field, and those experts decided that your idea is worth funding. So here we have a simple equation. Money goes in terms of the grant, and publication goes out. So in most majors, especially in science, in engineering, in medicine, in IT, it is not financially possible to do a genuine research without funding. And this funding comes from either internal or from external funding. Also, when you get a grant, especially external grant, your institution, your university will consider it as a positive contribution from you toward the financial health of your department, school, or agency. For example, if you are funding your PhD student from directly from the university, this will put a financial burden on the university. However, if you secure an external grant to fund the PhD student, the university will positively evaluate it. Also, so, I mean, after you get an academic position, you will discover how busy you are in teaching and service. So you will not have the full time to be a full-time researcher. That's why you need a research assistant to help you. So this is the full story of the grant that we will try to cover today. The first step is to find a funding source, that an organization or a company that will give you the money. So once you identify those potential funders, the next step is to write the proposal. And after that is to submit the proposal. And when the proposal is accepted, then you need to carry out the job. So when you're carrying out the job, you need to monitor what you have claimed in the proposal and try much as you can to achieve those goals. And of course, I mean, a grant is not like a free money. You need to report to the people who gave you the money what you have done with the grant. So if you did not do very well this year, next year or in the next cycle, they will not give you. So it's very important to deliver on what you have promised in the grant. So I mean, after all, you may ask yourself, I am still a PhD student, so why do I need to apply for a grant now? So grant writing is an important part of your professional growth strategy. So if you want to succeed as an academic, it's very important to start this journey. I mean, so it's very important. So as I mentioned before, a grant as important as the publication. So you build your individual credential. So you tell the people that you do not only publish papers. No, you can obtain grants. So grants are highly regarded in the CV. So later in the future, if you want to move a job or something, you need to show the people, the new employer, that your idea are worth of funding, that experts say your idea can attract funding. So first of all, we need to ask ourselves who gives the money. I mean, here in the United Arab Emirates, most of the funds comes from the public sectors like university or research organization like Expires or the Ministry of Education. But in most cases worldwide, university funding are considered as seed money. Like it is not meant to fund your research forever. For example, if you start an academic job, your new university will give you small amount of money to establish the lab or to buy software, but this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. You need to look for external funding. So after all, we have two sources of funding. We have internal funding and we have external funding. And everywhere, internal funding is widely regarded as less prestigious. So regardless of the amount. For example, if you attract 1 million dirham of internal funding from the university, and you attract 100,000 dirham from a company outside the university. So those 100,000 dirham are regarded as more important than the 1 million. So so here, what I'm trying to say is external funding is more prestigious than internal funding. And most of all, we cannot always rely on internal funding. They are not meant to be the main source of funding. For example, if you work in the US or in Europe, most of the funding come from external sources rather than internal. So there is a very limited window for internal funding worldwide. In general. However, private sectors also give money. For example, here in United Arab Emirates, I am chemical engineer, so the most generous funder is ADNOC. ADNOC is like a private company for oil. But also, if you look at the big company, they always have research and development center. So those research and development center, they are engaged in organizing the fund, in writing call for the proposal and reviewing the proposal. So in addition to the public funding or the internal funding, we also have venue for funds that comes from private sectors. And in most cases, company grant funding merely out of social responsibility to the community. For example, they feel obliged that they need to give back to the society or the community by supporting the research in universities. However, the company will not fund a research just because they want to do that. No, most of the time, companies are looking for a solution for a genuine problem that they are facing, or if they would like to develop a product. So if there is no value or if there is no return for them, this company will not give a fund. So they are giving the funding to solve a problem that they are facing. So it's not free. So it's like a win-win situation. So here in United Arab Emirates, we have a different source of public organization that give funds. Most importantly, the Ministry of Education or the Advanced Technology Research Councils, which comes under the Aspire umbrella. We also have Sanduq al-Watan, and we also have DIWA. After all, it depends on your major, what companies that give funds, but there are always opportunities for for external funding. So what is the difference between private and public sectors when it comes to the fund? Public sector funds are normally very, very competitive. They are complex because everyone applies for those funds. For example, if there is a call of fund from the Ministry of Education, they will receive hundreds of applications because everyone in the university will apply for those funds. So when they write the proposal, they are lengthier, they are more complex, they demand more. So this is the negative side of it. However, funds from the public sectors, normally they require shorter proposal that they will go directly to the problem. And writing the proposal is not complicated. And normally, sometimes they target people whom they know in the field, and they will ask them to write a letter of inquiry in the or other abbreviated format. I mean, after all, both type of funds are competitive, but I would think the public funds are much more competitive because everyone will apply for those public funds. For example, recently we have a call of funds, a joint fund from Khalifa University and our university, and out of 70 proposals, only 4 were funded. So after all, it's very, very competitive. Also, when we write a fund, it is not only a money. So when we write a grant, we can ask for something other than money in the proposal. For example, some proposal or grants are written for fellowships. Here in our university, we have a recent call for postdoctoral researchers that work on climate change. For example, some funds are written to access some sort of facilities like a supercomputer or a sophisticated lab, and some funds are written to attend a conference or a seminar. So after all, it is not only you write the fund to get a money or a real money. You can write the funds for other type of activities, like a fellowship or to use an instrument or to attend a conference. So it is competitive. Okay, so let's assume that you have the idea to write a proposal. So how to find a potential funder? Normally in certain countries, there are websites that will post or they will announce all opportunities of funds. So for example, this one is from the US. So, sorry, this is from Australia. This is from the US. But also you can check your profile in LinkedIn. You can check the research and development web pages in companies. I mean, here in our university, we have the research office that frequently send us the call of proposal, and we have major call proposal. We have minor, but we always receive calls of proposal, and normally it's in April. So since if you are a PhD student or a master, you can approach your supervisor to get you involved in writing some part of the proposal. For example, the methodology, if you are working in it, if you have a brilliant idea, you can contribute it. But normal, how to find a potential funder? You can, in certain countries, there are websites, or it could be organized by the research office or the research and development in the company. Now, for example, if you are working in the university, then we will rely on the research office to send us the call of the proposal.
He didn't send me anything. He never sent me. I don't know. He asked me for his send out.
Sorry. Okay. So, however, if you are targeting a fund from the company, you can write them a letter of intent. For example, I work on this field, I can contribute, I can solve some problems, and so on. So it goes both ways. The company can write the call for funds, or you can approach them. But from my experience, the company will not give a fund unless they have a real problem and they have a call of proposal. Because when it comes to the money, it has to go through several steps of accountability. So the company will need to make sure it follows the procedure. And of course, you need to prepare, if you are targeting a company, you need to prepare a letter of intent to the company. That this letter of intent shows who you are, what are your qualifications, and that you have worked on similar problems in the past, and you can contribute to solving this problem. And you can communicate with the company either via sending them an email, or if you know them personally, you can meet them, and so on. So here there are different venues to approach the company for a fund. Now, what is the pathway to write a proposal? It could be a lengthy process. So the first step is to generate the idea. The second step is to make the contacts with the people with the potential funders. And of course, then you need to write the proposal. But when you write a proposal, if you are working in a university, you cannot submit it directly to the company or to the ministry. It has to obtain the official university approval. So why the university need to approve it? Because you are working in the university, and you are paid for your time in the university. You have other duties in the university, for example, teaching, research service. So also the university, they need to check the budget to be in line with their regulations, and for many reasons. So after that, you submit the proposal. If it's approved, that's very good. That's what you want. You need to do the research and to publish the paper and to prepare the reports. If it's declined, which frequently happens, so it is not the end of the world. You can actually, it is a good. Sometimes it is a good idea to have a rejected proposal, because the proposal will not be rejected for nothing. They will give you a detailed comments why your proposal is not funded. So you can address those comments, improve the proposal, and resubmit it in the future. So writing the grant, it is always a good idea, either it is funded or not, because at the end of the day, if you keep improving the proposal for many times, eventually it will be funded somewhere. So it is not a time wasted, I think. So before you're writing the proposal, you need to know the problem. For example, we do not write the proposal out of nowhere. The proposal is around something we call the problem. So the problem makes the proposal. For example, we have an environmental problem, and your proposal tackles to solve this issue, or there is a problem in a certain software that you are targeting to improve, or any other area. But however, most importantly, no matter how good you write the proposal, if the idea or the problem is not novel, is not significant, it is unlikely to be funded. So the whole proposal is based on the problem statement, like what is needed to be done in the proposal. And of course, when you write the proposal, you try to write the main idea, and then you try to lay it down with multiple ideas around it, so to increase your chance of funding. But before you start writing the proposal, you need to do your own checklist. For example, is my organization eligible to apply? For example, in United Arab Emirates, some funds are only targeting for Abu Dhabi, some for Dubai. Sometimes there are different conditions. So you need to make sure that your organization is eligible to apply. For example, you cannot apply for a fund in the US if that fund is only targeted for universities in the US. So the first step is to make sure your organization is eligible to apply. You need to check the deadline, like, can I make it? For example, if you find out there is a fund tomorrow, you will not be able to make it. And of course, you need to make sure that when you apply for the fund, you have the infrastructure, the equipment to do the job. And when you write the budget, you need to make sure that if you get to 50% of the project, will my project work or not? So there are different checklists that you need to make sure that you have fulfilled all these checklists. Then you can apply for the fund. So where to get the ideas? This is the most important thing. Actually, in science, we get the ideas. So here, the most important step in getting the idea is to know the literature in your field. This is very important. So what you need to focus, for example, you are working on electrochemistry, or you are working on power or cybersecurity or any other field. So here we have a quick procedure to get the idea is that you read the latest research published in top journals, because those were the most novel ideas have been previously published. So you read those papers to see where the people are at now in this field, and this will give you an idea what can be done. Also, it is always a good idea to read the last sections in good review articles. Those good review articles normally suggest direction for future research, normally in most cases. So if you read the last sections, the conclusion or the recommendation for future work, it will give you an idea what could be a problem, or what I can target in my proposal. And also, you can write the abstract of recently awarded grants. For example, you can go to the research office and ask copy for the abstract of the proposal. Those abstract of the proposal will give you the ideas that have been funded recently. So I mean, if you read those abstracts, you will know what they might fund and what they may not fund. For example, if you based your idea on something was published 10 years ago, no one will give you the money. So your idea has to be timely. Like, people are working on it now at the moment. For example, 4 years ago, if you propose an idea to work on COVID or Corona, I mean, of course you will be funded. Like, everyone will give you a fund. However, now, if you try to write a grant in Corona, no one will give you like a single dirham. So here, what you need to target a timely problem that is happening now. Also, sometimes you think your idea is brilliant, but it may not be the case. So you can discuss it with your colleagues, with your professor, if you have colleagues from other university. And if you have some preliminary work that test the water, that this idea may work or may not work. Also, you need to look closely at the real problems. I mean, both fundamentally and practically. And most importantly, you need to make sure that your idea has a local context, so you can sell it in the proposal. For example, if your proposal aims to solve an environmental problem in like Argentina or Brazil, so no one will care. I mean, what you're gonna write it in the proposal. Here, there is no local context to it. So if you write a proposal, make sure to highlight the local context in the proposal in many ways. All right, so what is the conclusion here? If you want to get the idea, you need to be updated with the literature, where people are at now. This is the most important thing. So when you write the grant, you make sure that you don't imply in any way that your aim of the grant is to make you successful. So you don't write in the grant that my aim is to publish 10 papers, to supervise students. This is not the main. This is your own agenda. But the company or the university that will give you the money, no, they are concerned about what you will do for them in the general thing. So the focus have to be the funders, not you. So when you write a proposal, make sure the main idea is that the sponsor will be successful, not you. This is the main idea. So when you write a proposal, don't write that my aim is to publish 10 papers, my aim is to get promoted, my aim is to hire 10 students. No, this is not the right approach. And so when you write a proposal, make the focus what the sponsor wants, and you can write it accordingly. Okay, so now you have the idea for the proposal. You have a good idea for the proposal. You are eligible to apply. You have the infrastructure to do the job. Then when you make this checklist, then you start writing the proposal. So before you write the proposal, you need to read the guidelines. Normally, when there is a call for the proposal, they will give you the guidelines. For example, our research office will give us the guidelines. like what is expected from this grant.
Yeah, but don't break straight, huh? See the line, always follow the line. عشان ما يطيح البارتيشن. فهمتي؟ عشان ما يطيح. يطيح ويصيح.
Can you please
ما
tell
you're
me
not صيح. أنت اللي صيح.
Okay. So when you get the guidelines, it's very important that you like. So when you have the guidelines, you need to read it at least one time. So when you write the proposal for the first time, make sure that you are eligible to apply. This is the first step.
يلا شوفيني ساحبتين.
So in the second pass, when you read the proposal for the when you read the proposal for the second time, you can check how money will be given, what is the name of the funding agency, or how many grants will be awarded. When you read the guidelines for the third time, you look for the format, like what types of fonts do they have, the page limits, and so on. And when you read the guidelines again, check, let's see if they have some review criteria. For example, they will focus on the idea, or they will focus on the qualification of the applicant, or they will focus on the infrastructure or the environment, or so on. So here, before you start writing the proposal, make sure that you read the guidelines several times to make sure that you are eligible to apply. For example, some grant may not be applicable for PhD students or for early career researcher or so on. I mean, this is the first step, is to make sure that you are eligible to apply. The second, when you read the guidelines for the second time, you look for how many grants will be awarded or how much money can be given. When you read it again, look for the format, and finally check if there are some peer review criteria. So what constitutes a fundable proposal? So what is a good proposal looks like? I mean, after all, 50% of the written proposal are funded or fundable. But what makes, for example, if the chance of success is 10% in this type of grant, so why those 10% proposal were funded? Because they will write something that excites the reviewer, something that is innovative, something is contemporary, something is feasible to implement in the given time frame. For example, you don't have to propose an idea that requires 10 years to implement. This is not good. And you write something that meets the agency priorities. For example, I am a chemical engineer. So what are our priorities now is, for example, is hydrogen production, is to reduce the pollution, and so on. So when I write a proposal, I need to make sure that it is aligned with the national or the agency priorities. I mean, after all, when you write the proposal, it is not the English of the proposal that will make it successful. It is how it is written. Here, most importantly, the idea has to be, here the idea has to be brilliant somehow, or novel, and something that the reviewer will like. So when you write the proposal, the most important page is actually the first page. So the first page of the proposal should define the goals and state benefits for the reader. So in the first page of the proposal, you do not do a literature review. For example, or if you are working on okay, so the first page, when you write the proposal, the first page of the proposal should define the goals and state the benefit of the readers. This is very important, because if the reviewer doesn't like the first page, most likely he may not continue reading the proposal. He will give you a bad score. But if he likes the first page, and this will give him a motivation to continue reading the proposal. But if he finds the proposal poorly written from the first page, then he will not continue writing the proposal. So it's similar when you go to a shop. I mean, if you see the entrance of the shop is not good, then so you may decide not to go inside the shop and buy. So here we can do a similar comparison. So So when you write a proposal, make sure to state the idea in the first page and don't wait until the last page to write what you want to say, because after all, the reviewer may not reach to the last page. So you need to write your objectives and idea exactly in the first page. Most importantly, you can write the objective and the research plan, then write the first page at the end. And of course, when you write the proposal, it's different from writing a journal article. It has to be written in a persuasive writing. So here the style is slightly different. So when you write a research articles, you state the facts, the findings, what your research have found. But when you write the proposal, you write it of what you are planning to do in terms of the idea. And of course, you have to make sure the objectives are clear. So this is the most important page in the proposal. It is actually the first page in the proposal. So what is the format of the proposal? So different types of fund have different format, but in general, these are the components of common proposal. We need the title page. The title page lists the names, the affiliations, the contact details, email, phones, or whatever. This is the title page. Then the abstract, then the objectives and aims, then significance, then research plan, facilities, and then personnel. So here personnel, it is like your qualification and how you are qualified to do the job. Then the budget and its justification. For example, if you apply for 100,000 dirham, you need to just clearly justify why do you need them. For example, if the maximum limit in the proposal is 100,000, it is always not a good idea to ask for the maximum unless you can fully justify it. And the budget contains direct cost and indirect cost, and there could be some appendices, and most of the proposal you attach the CV to it, either a short CV or an extended CV. So due to time constraint, we'll try to go this.
تعرف حرر جيراننا وغيرهم مشان يطلعوا الدنيا بعد طلعوا.
بدر الحمد ممكن اغلبك تعمل ميوت للمايك. Okay, so writing a proposal is like selling of an idea. So when you write the proposal, basically you try to sell your idea to get the money. For in sale, you try to sell. You have something special to offer. In the proposal, you are selling the significance or the importance. And when you write, you go to a shop, the first impression is always very important. For example, if you want to go to buy a house, if you don't like the entrance, you will not continue.
يا أما هذا
لا كان
لا عشان تعرفوا انتوا
كان كبير كان هذا
يا هذا يا هذا
شوف هذا
لا يا هذا ابوي
بدر ممكن تعمل ميوت للمايك.
sorry.
Okay, so when you write a proposal, so writing a proposal is like selling of an idea. And so here everything counts. So for example, you need to clearly mention the significance, the importance. You need to have a good background, and the images have to look very nice. They have to be colorful, and you have to add to it supporting documentation. What is the supporting documentation? It is something that says about your previous experience in tackling several problems that you have published on this area before. So all these need to be included somewhere in the proposal. So you may think of the proposal of selling an idea. So your idea is the product, and you need to make sure that you sell your idea in the best possible approach for people to buy it. So we are academics, so what we sell is our ideas in research. So there are two important aspects to keep in mind when you are writing. The first one is the evaluation criteria of the proposal. So they are normally announced by the funder how they rank the proposal. For example, when you write a proposal, it will go for an expert in the field to review it, and he will give a mark, for example, out of 10 to the proposal. So he will base the mark on the quality of the investigator, like how good you are a researcher from your previous record. For example, you have publications in the field, the quality and the innovation in the proposal, or the benefits, the feasibility, the research environment. But these numbers could change depending on the funder. So many funders based their evaluation on the idea, while others focus on the quality of the investigator, like how many publications you have, what is its index. So I mean, after all, everything counts in writing the proposal. And other important factors nowadays is the international collaboration. So when you write a proposal, it is always a good idea to write it with a professor from outside the country, from a good university. Okay. So here we have two things when you write a proposal. The first thing is that you need to know somehow if it's published already, the evaluation criteria. And the second thing is to avoid the commonly quoted negative comments by reviewers. So if a reviewer rejects a proposal, he will say why I have rejected the proposal. And those are the common statements that a reviewer writes when he rejects or when he or she rejects a proposal. For example, he could say the problem statement is not well defined. It's too global. For example, there is no relation to reality with a potential solution or whatsoever. Or for example, the problem is not novel enough. Or it is like, will you write the problem statement in such unclear way? So, and sometimes you do not define your approach very well. Or for example, you need to do the job 100,000 K, but you ask for $1 million, or the other way around. For example, if the project needs $500,000, if you ask for 100,000, they will not give you. So after all, the reviewer will assess if the money or the budget that you are asking for is reasonable or not. Like it has to, so the budget does not have to be inflated, and the project should not be under budgeted. So it goes both ways. So you should. So how do you make sure how to avoid this? When you write the budget, you have to clearly justify it. Like I need 100,000 K to do this, and that. For example, I need 20,000 K to pay for a PhD student. I need 10,000 K to purchase material. I need 1,000 K to attend a conference, and so on. So the budget has to be well defined. Also, when you write a proposal, I mean, most successful proposals are written within a team. So the proposal is not a one-man show. So one professor or one PhD student may not be able to write a very good proposal. So the proposal is like a venue of collaborations with other scientists or other professors. I mean, like I cannot recall a funded proposal that was written by one professor. I mean, after all, we are all busy, so we cannot do everything at once. So it has to be collaboration work. And when you write the collaboration, it has to be articulated collaboration, so not very much artificial. For example, if you say I will collaborate with Professor A from that university, there need to be some history of collaboration with that professor. For example, you have published a paper with him in the past. Anyway, I mean, after this workshop, I will send those slides. But when you write a proposal, try to make sure that a reviewer will not reject the proposal based on this general statement. So this statement written in this slide could reject any proposal. I mean, for example, he could say the idea is not novel. He could say, I do not understand what the applicant want to say, or he do not understand the procedure of the problem, the procedure that will be undertaken to address the problem, or he may not like the budget. So when you write the proposal, at least try to overcome this common rejection reason. Okay, so when you write the proposal, you start with the title. So the title has to be informative. It tells the idea of the proposal. It is attention grabbing, and it should be understood by non-technical people. So who the first people who will read your proposal? It is not the reviewer. For example, it is people in the research office. And people in the research office may not be in the same field as you. So when you write the proposal, try to write it in general terms. So for example, here, I summarized titles of funded proposal in various fields. For example, in civil, for example, in technology, a good title would be Stream Data Classification in the Age of 5G Unit Work. So here the 5G tells or convey the innovation. In energy, for example, you say room temperature or whatever. So here the word, when you write the proposal, when you write the title of the proposal, try to make it that tells the idea of the proposal in the first line, which is the title. And some people try to inject some verbs in the proposal. I mean, when you write a proposal, try to see what were the titles of successful proposal before, and try to write something similar. For example, you can use this word like next generation. So next generation, for example, something new. So when you write the title of the proposal, it has to tell the novel aspects of the proposal in some way. For example, this word room temperature is like innovative. So people used high temperature before. So your proposal will do the same thing at room temperature, and so on. So make sure your title of the proposal is not boring. If it's boring, it will give a bad impression from the very start of the proposal. So when you start writing the proposal, you start with writing the abstract or the executive summary. So the abstract will tell the whole idea of the proposal. Abstract is like a brief, one-page limited overview of what the grant reviewer will find in the full grant application. So it's like abstract. So when you read an article, sometimes if you read the abstract and the abstract was written very well, you don't need to read the whole article to get the idea. So here the abstract is what tell the reviewer what he will expect in the full grant application. So the idea, so the language of the proposal has to be kept simple, and you need to stick with the limit. So normally the limit of the abstract or the executive summary is 1 page. Sometimes 500 words or 300 words. So most importantly, you need to stick with the limit. Actually, it is a good idea to write the abstract at the end. When you finish writing the entire proposal, go back and write the abstract. So who is the audience that will read the abstract? Actually, the reviewers within the funding agency and the reviewer outside the funding agency. So your abstract should appeal to both groups. Actually, some of the reviewers may not read the full proposal, but everyone will read the abstract. So if everyone will read the abstract, make sure that you write a very good abstract in the proposal. Now we'll have some example of how good abstracts may look like. After all, if the abstract is poorly written, the reviewer will have a bad impression and he will not give you a good score. So try to do your best in writing the abstract. So what constitutes a good abstract? So these are the main part of a good abstract. So in the first sentence, you state the aim of the whole proposal. This is very important. For example, this project aims to do this and that. So in the first sentence, you state the broad aim or the main aim of the proposal. So this will grab the attention of the reviewer, what you are trying to achieve or to attain. So the first sentence in the abstract should define the aim. This is very important. So the following 2 to 4 sentences should define the novel aspects, like what are new in your proposal. So the first sentence will give the aim. The second 3 to 4 sentences will define the novel aspects of the proposal. And after that, the next 2 statements will define the outcomes or the deliverable. For example, the project outcome in the form of this will, for example, will generate a new type of energy storage technology or whatever. So these are the outcomes. So you start with the aim, then the novel aspects, then the outcome. And after that, you say what are the benefits for the end user. For example, you could have a brilliant idea, very novel, but what is the benefit for normal people? So the last sentence in the abstract will define the benefit to the end users and the community. Here you can inject the local context, like why your idea is important in the United Arab Emirates. So here you need to make sure that you state the local context. Actually, if you stick to those different parts in the abstract, I mean, there is a high chance that you'll have a very nice abstract. So this is like what people look in the abstract. Like a good reviewer will look for the aim. For example, if you define the aim, the reviewer cannot say, I do not know what is the idea of the proposal. He cannot accuse you of that because you have actually and clearly stated the aim. This is my aim of the proposal, and this is why it is novel, and this is what would come out of my proposal, and these are the benefits. So you need to make sure to have these 4 types of sentences in the abstract. So this is the abstract in another format. Some types of funds require you to divide the abstract into 3 parts: the aims, the significance, and the expected outcome. Here, expected outcome is not publications. It is here the expected outcome is the scientific benefit. So regardless of publications or not. So we have the aims. What are the aim of the proposal? Why the proposal is significant, the novel, and finally the expected outcome. So to write abstract, you can draft these 3 parts separately, and then try to combine them or link them together. So when you write abstract for any proposal, make sure that you have these 3 sentences clearly written. So don't write in a generic statement or a literature review. For example, if you are working on energy storage, don't define energy storage in the abstract. Everyone in your field know what is energy storage, for example. Or for example, if you are working to improve the properties of a food, don't define what are good properties of a certain food. So because this will be read by experts, so who knows what's the deal. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel for them. Actually, this writing the abstract is very important aspect in the proposal, and normally a good abstract in a funded proposal contains these 3 parts: the aims, significance, and the expected outcomes. So what could be an expected outcome? For example, development of new technologies. This is an expected outcome. The significance: this project will provide whatever fundamental or practical understanding, and this is the aim. So you have written the abstract. This is the first page. Next, so the next section of the proposal is to write the objectives and the specific aims. So there is a difference between aim, objectives, outcome, and those ones. So when you write the second page of the proposal, which is the objectives or the aims, you need to make sure that your proposal has at least one general aim or one general objective in every one proposal. So don't write 10 aims of the proposal. If the duration of the proposal is 2 years, you'll not be able to achieve all this in 2 years. So you have to remember that the proposal is time limited. So don't be too ambitious that you'll solve 100 problems in the proposal. The proposal is meant to solve one major problems, like 1 or 2 or 3 at most general problems. And under those general problems, there comes different outcomes. So when you state the object, state them clearly. So and avoid technical jargon as much as possible. And when you read the abstract in terms of English, stick to one tense. So don't use both tense in the proposal. So when you write your aims, try to make them specific, timely limited, and so on. So when you write the aims, make sure that they are aligned with the funder's goal. For example, if the aim of the proposal to enhance the production of a certain product, make sure that you state those aims in your specific objective. So your aim has to be perfectly aligned with what the funders want to do in giving you the money. So after all, this funder organization will give you the money to do something specific related to what they are trying to accomplish. So it's very important when you write the specific aims, make sure that you have a few number of aims, 2 or 3 at most, and make them clearly stated, like anyone who read the aims will understand. For example, I am chemical engineers. If someone from biology write those specific aims, I should be able to understand those aims in general. I mean, because most importantly, the proposal will go to, for example, the research office. The research office may not be in the field, so they should be able to understand generally what you are trying to achieve. So here there is a difference between the aims and the objective. So if you fail to distinguish between the aims and the objectives, this will be a soft target for a reviewer to attack the proposal. So objectives serve the aim of the proposal. So here there is no way to measure how successful we are in the aims, but objectives we can measure. So anyhow, maybe I will skip this to go to this one. Okay, so this is very important. For example, the aim will come different objectives under it, and under each objectives we will have the outcome. For example, the aim is the general thing that your proposal trying to target, and there are different objectives that will serve the aim. So, for example, different stages in the proposal, and the outcomes is actually what you measure in the lab. For example, I will measure the increase in the temperature. So, I mean, for example, you cannot say that my aim is to measure the increase in the temperature. This is not an aim. The aim is what the reviewer want or what the funding organization want. So when you write the aim, for example, you say object 1 and 2 and 3 will serve the aim. And to make sure that we have achieved objectives 1, we would like to have outcome A, B, C, and D. So this is very important. So it's very important to distinguish between the aim, objectives, and outcomes. So what are the outcomes is actually the publication. So something you will do to publish a paper is the outcome, but it is not the objective, it is not the aim. So publishing a paper will tell that I have fulfilled this objective 1, which is my outcome A, for example. Actually, if you fail to distinguish between the aim and the objective, then the reviewer may find a good reason to reject the whole proposal. So when you write the aim, try to use a verb inside it. So it is not a simple sentence. For example, you can start with the word provide. For example, the aim of my proposal is to develop an obesity awareness campaign targeting university students. This is your aim of the whole proposal. For example, to construct a more effective hazardous. So you need to use a verb within the aim. And of course, you can use provide, develop, plan, educate, create, build, and so forth. So when you state the aims, you use a verb in a clear statement. This statement will be understood by people outside your field. For example, I don't know but if I read the third aim, I mean, it belongs to biology or mechanical engineering or whatever. But I would have a feeling what this proposal trying to achieve in a general term. So here, there are no jargon. There are no technical words that very much sensitive to that field. So it is a general, but it is also understood by people outside field. So these are examples of the aims of the proposal, and this should be stated in the abstract. So the aim of the proposal, for example, is to construct a more effective hazard alarm approach. It is a general, and it is understood by people outside the field. Okay, so we have written the abstract, then we need to move to the second page of the proposal, the first page of the proposal after the abstract. So here it's very important how you write. So in the first page of the proposal, the aims and background, there is the first paragraph, then we have the second paragraph. So make sure to write only 2 paragraphs in the first page of the proposal, no more than 2 good paragraphs. So what's the first paragraph or the introductory should have? We should have the first sentence is the hook, like this will attract the reviewer to read the proposal. For example, you could say there is a gap in our knowledge in regard to that problem. So this is the first statement in the first page. You say that what's important, what is novel, directly. Then you say what is known. For example, we have a problem in this, but what people have done, you specify it next. Then you state what is the gap in the knowledge. So the first paragraph should cover these 3 parts. Next, I will give you an example on it. So the second paragraph in the first page, so the first page will have the aims and background. Then you introduce your aim to fill in the gap. For example, we go back to here. So this is written in the second paragraph. So this proposal aims to develop an obesity awareness campaign, for example. This is your aim. And next, you will state how you are going to do that in general terms, and then you make your hypothesis. For example, you could say we think using this material will increase the temperature or increase the storage or whatever. So then you introduce the hypothesis. So in this section, if you write the first page of the proposal, which is aim and background, in this way, you must quickly gain the reviewer trust and confidence while convincing them that your work is important to fund. So in the first page, you do not write a literature review. Like it's very boring. People will know what has been done, but you write it in a certain way that you introduce the novel idea. You introduce the gap and what has been done and what is your approach and what is your aim. All this has to be stated in the first page. So remember, the reviewer will read the abstract. Of course, he will read the abstract first. And the second thing he will read is the first page. The first page says the aims and the background. So if he doesn't like the first page, he may not like the entire proposal. If he doesn't like the first page, he will try to find the problems here and there to justify rejection of the proposal. So you need to remember, like the chance of success in proposal sometimes is very limited. So like, for example, if 100 proposals are submitted, only 10 are accepted. So those accepted proposals are written in a nice way. And this is one way of them. Okay. This is an example of the introductory paragraph in the first page, and the second paragraph. So in the second paragraph, you state the importance of the problem in the first paragraph directly, like why it is very, very important. For example, viruses are known to cause whatever. This is the importance. So this is the importance. For example, you do not start the statement by defining what viruses are. This is known. So you define. So the first sentence in the introductory paragraph, in the first page of the proposal, you say the general importance of in that field. Then you state the known information, what people know already, and what is not known, the gap in the knowledge. And then you state the obstacles, like why it is difficult to fill the gap in the knowledge, like why people didn't do it before. So there is an obstacle somewhere. So the second paragraph in the first page, then you state your aim directly. So your aim has to be stated in the second paragraph in the second page. This is very important. But this aim is also shown in the abstract in a different way. Then you specify your objectives. So remember, this is the aim, and this is the objective. The aim is the general milestone that you're trying to develop or to solve or to create. This is the aim. Then the objectives, and then you introduce the rationale. So why rationale? Rationale is why your proposal is feasible to apply. Then you state the hypothesis. Hypothesis could be based on your previous work or work published in the literature before. So the reviewer need to know that this is it is possible to apply this idea based on a previous knowledge in a very similar field. So at the end, you say what people will get if we do this. It is like the payoff, the outcomes. So make sure when you write the first page of the proposal, you try to have these different sections. So the first page of the proposal is not written randomly. It has to have different substructures to it. So you can write it for the first time, then change it. If you have to change it 10 times, I mean, it's okay. But at the end of the day, you should have those sections clearly written. And of course, you can give it to a colleague to read it for you after you have finished. For example, when we write something ourselves, we may not see our problems. So you can read the abstract and leave it. You can write this first page and come back to it tomorrow or after 2 days. Then you start seeing the problems and try to see how you could fix it or give it to another colleague to read it. But most importantly, the first page of the proposal have to have these sections somehow. So what could be in the second paragraph? As I said, we have to say the rationale. We have to say the qualifications, how you are qualified to do this problem, and the central hypothesis. The first page of the proposal have to tell the hypothesis in one way or another. So there should be a hypothesis. And then how you are going to test the hypothesis, and what is your qualification to test or to apply this hypothesis. So the first page of the proposal tells everything. It tells the aims, the objectives, the hypothesis, your previous track record in this field, and how you are going to apply this hypothesis and what you have done in the past, similar work in the past. For example, if you are working in a field, you cannot write a proposal in a completely different field of a study. For example, if I work, I cannot jump in and write a proposal in environment all of a sudden. I mean, there has to be some track record to it, so people will believe you. Okay, so then so the first part was the abstract, then the specifics, aims, and the objective. Then we need to write the significance or the impact statement. This is the third part of the proposal. So this one will say the benefit to the community, to the nation, to the mankind. So here the significance is not publications in top ranked journal. You cannot say my proposal is significant or important because I target to publish in top 1% journal. This is not significant. Significance is what other people will benefit from you getting the proposal. What is the benefit? And of course, I mean, when you write, so this has to be written very clearly, and it has to have like a local context. For example, the result will enable a safer design or condition. This would enable commercialization of this technology, not in the way, but also online. So you have to give it a local context, and you have to argue for the potential benefit for the end users outside academia. So end users are normal people in the street. So these are the end users, so people in the mall. So what normal people will get if I am successful in getting the grant and applying it. So we do not write. So when we publish a paper, the paper is not. I mean, this is what expected. The paper is not our. I mean, of course, my aim as academic is to publish the paper, but this is not what a normal person would like to have, because after all, we are using public fund to do something significant, something within the priorities of the nation. So we have to say very clearly what are the potential benefit to end user, normal people outside the academia. For example, you will develop a new way to treat that type of illness or whatever. So this is the benefit to the end user. And of course, it's very important to align the objectives to the national research priority, to the SDG, which is the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. There are 13 of them. I forget to add them here. But when you write the proposal, try to link them with the national research priorities. This is very important. And with the SDG goals, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. For example, to have good health, environment, good educations, and so on. So this has to be written in the impact statement. Impact statement is not, I mean, it is not academic thing. I mean, the benefit is not for academia. It is for the public, for the end user. So when we write the impact statement, we have to put the end users in our mind and try to align our aims, objectives with those with the benefit that the end user will get. And this is an example of them. I mean, before you're writing the proposal, try to get a funded proposal within your field from a colleague or from a professor, and try to locate these different sections. So when you start writing the proposal, you may find it difficult, but then it becomes a habit. It becomes a second nature of you. When you write it, then you would know, or you would appreciate the difference between writing a proposal and writing a research paper. So they are entirely different things. In the proposal, you promise that I will do this, and that, but it is not a false promise. It is a promise that are based on well-tested hypotheses and a clearly articulated procedure. So people will believe you. So I mean, even if you write a very good proposal, the impact statement has to be written in a such way that it tells what people will benefit from my proposal outside the academia. So it is also very important when you write to use certain words. And so those certain words, for example, improved. So try to use always positive words that will conveying that when conveying the significance. For example, improved, productive, exciting, advanced, constructive, opportunity, important, interesting, new, original, and so on. So don't use a tentative stance. Like, don't make it unclear. For example, a general outcome, observe change, improved, and this is not good. I mean, here it says that you don't know, or you are hoping this work or may not work. So don't use those verbs, if, hope, possibly. So don't say, I hope that this will work. This is not good. If I'm a reviewer and I see a proposal written, this may work, I will reject the proposal. So I will ask if it doesn't work, what will happen? So try to use the positive word and don't use vague terminology or a tentative stand. So you need to be as much clear as possible and use only positive words. So the research plan is normally the lengthiest part of the proposal, and it is normally like they will give you 5 or 10 pages, and when you write it in the research plan, it is what you do in the lab, what you do in what software you are using. For example, if you are a business, you do survey or whatever. So this is how you're gonna do the research. So when you write it, don't make it sound simple. So inject some sophistication. You could say this is applying this procedure would be challenging because of this and this and that. So try to inject some sophistication in the planned technology. So if it's too simple, then people will think twice. If it's too simple, why do I need to fund it? So like it does not deserve funding if it's too simple. So here, I mean, also you try to convince the reviewer that you know the procedure and you have thought it carefully and you have done it in the past, you have the expertise, you have the facilities to do it. This is the research methodology sections, but of course, I mean, you need to make sure that your performance projections are realistic. So you don't make inflated promises. You don't say that you will find a cure for some illness that people never found. So make sure that your aim are not, make sure that the aim of the whole proposal is not too ambitious. If it's too ambitious, then people will think twice. Like, why? If it's too ambitious, why people in the past didn't do it? So make sure it's a bit ambitious. That's why it is funded. So here the use of the language is important. I mean, of course, you have to have some novelty in the methodology, and you don't try to reproduce what people did, or at least try to convey the novel aspects in the methodology. You could say people in the past use test A, B, and C. I will use test D. I will develop my own test D because it will improve the accuracy or will increase the reproducibility of the result. So you need to put some novelty aspects in the methodology. Also in here we have like a mistakes in the method because the plan and the methodology is the easiest section in the proposal. If you do a mistakes here, then this will give a very good reason for the reviewer to reject it. So if you made a mistake in describing your methodology, or if the methodology is in some way, then here there is no zero tolerance when it comes to the research plan and the methodology. It has to be accurate, that you know what you are doing, that what approach you will do based on the literature or based on your experience or based on what you have done in the lab or what people have done in the past. And make sure that you cited the correct references, that you know what you are doing when you're writing the methodology. For example, you could say that if there is an ethical approval, you need to make sure that before I do this survey, I will get the required approval for the required ethical approval from the university and so on. So this is very important. I mean, sometimes it's important. So here it depends on the field. If your research will include survey like a business or IT or in some social science field, you may need to do a survey. So you need to describe how the survey will be conducted, what is the sampling method, or how I design my question based on the hypothesis, how do I plan to conduct the survey, and so on. I mean, if you're sometimes if you do an experiment, you need to give full details of the tools, the techniques, the procedure, how you design the experiment, how many times you need to repeat the experiment to make sure that they are reproducible. And I mean, here, if you are in the experimental business, you need to make sure you give enough details for other people to reproduce the result. So this section is like discipline specific, but make sure that you don't do mistakes when you're describing the methodology, because your proposal will go to expert in the field, and those people will know the methodology. So when you write the plan and the methodology, you try to be as much specific as possible. For example, to address objectives A, we say we have 3 aims, and inside each aim there are certain objectives. So you could say to address objective A, which is related to aim 1, the PhD students intend to do this and that. So you link the objectives, the aim, with the methodology. So this is very important. So I mean, when you write a proposal, it is like a complete story connected with each other. So every part has to somehow to reflect the other part, or to bring or to inject some sort of synergy in it. So here, what is the idea is to link the conceptual framework with the specific aims and objective. So you say to achieve aim 1, which is objective A related to it, this person will do this and this and that. So this will enable us to make sure that the methodology is correct. Also, you try to use a colorful figure. So you try to have one figure in each page. So because people get very bored when they read the text without colorful figure. If you have a figure, make sure it's colorful, that people like to look into it. So how to have a colorful, look into the graphical abstract. Now, if you publish a paper, they always need the graphical abstract. Why? Because a figure tells more than 1,000 words. So you try to inject a colorful figure in each page in the methodology section. So if the methodology section is just full of text, then this is not good. Try to have a very colorful, a very nice looking figure in each one of those pages. Also, this chart is very popular. It's the Gantt chart. The Gantt chart tells the timeline of the project. For example, you will divide the year into quarters, and what I am planning to achieve in these 3 months or 4 months. So this is part of the so this is the timeline of the entire project over 3 years or 2 years or whatsoever. So it's very important to have a Gantt chart in the proposal. In the Gantt chart, you could say, for example, this will be done by PhD student, this will be done by Professor A, this will be done by this. So here inside the Gantt chart, you also say who will do what. So it is like, so any person looking at the Gantt chart will understand the time, not only the timeline, but also the task, the objectives, the aim, and who is responsible for what. So the Gantt chart will also tell the collaboration network inside the proposal. So when you write the methodology, you should say what each participant in the proposal will do. So those participants could be PhD student, could be research assistant, could be professors, could be your collaborators, it could be anyone. But also when you write the methodology, for example, if a professor is involved in the proposal, the professor has many other things to do other than this proposal. So you need to specify what we call the full-time equivalency. For example, this professor will divide a full-time equivalency of 0.2 in the proposal. So these numbers mean 20% of this professor time will go into this proposal to do it. I mean, we cannot say that. So make sure the time that you give to that participant is somehow related with the expected tasks from him. And when you write these sections, you somehow tell his qualifications, why he's good at, why he will do the expected job from him. So when you write the proposal, it's very important to mention the full-time equivalency. So full-time equivalency 0.2 here means 20% of his time will go into the proposal. So this is very important. Okay, sometimes we need to define the role of everyone in the proposal. So here we have the aims, and inside it, you could say it's the objective or whatever. And here the team members, Chief Investigator 1, Chief Investigator 2, research assistant, PhD, and this is what his major contribution. For example, chief investigator, one will have a major role in all aims, or he will have a minor, or so on. So you try as much as possible. You try to be detailed as much as possible when you're writing the role of personnel in the proposal. So if someone has name in the proposal, you should explain what he will do or what she will do. So don't just write his name. It has to be detailed, right? I added this person to the proposal because he will do this and that. And why he will be able to do this and that? Because his previous qualification will enable him to do that. For example, professor from have its index of whatever he co-authored. We have co-authored 2 manuscripts together, so we know each other. We have worked together in the past and so on. So I mean, you are telling a story, a convincing story. So you don't say this proposal involves Professor X from that university without specifying what he will actually contribute. Okay, I don't think we have much time, but I'll go through this quickly. When you write a proposal, you have to tell what you already have, what infrastructures you already have. For example, you have a lab, that this lab contains these facilities. For you have access to this software. So you need to say clearly what you have, what you already have. But don't say that we are starting from scratch, that we don't have anything to contribute in the proposal. If you write this, no one will give you the money to start from scratch. So you could ask for money to buy something, like certain equipment or a software or access to a database or so on. But you have to clearly mention what you already have. For example, if you are working on science, in engineering or in medicine or whatsoever, you need to make sure you mention the instrument, their brands, how they are connected. So this section will give an idea to the reviewer, like what kind of research environment you already have. Like, is your institution or is your lab eligible to do this research? Because there is a timeline for the project, like 2 years or 3 years. If you start from scratch and you have nothing, no one will give you the money to do the project. So you have to say what you have and what else do you need. And also you need to make sure how you plan to communicate the result. For example, you have $500,000 dirham from the university. What did you do with this money? I mean, after all, this is the mechanism of the fund. It's money goes in, publication goes out. So you have to mention where you plan to publish your result, and it has to be Q1 ranked journal at least. You could say, based on our previous experience, we plan to publish 5 Q1 articles from the project. This is possible based on our previous project with the same amount that we have managed to 5 to 10 articles and so on. So don't say that I'll publish 20 Q1 articles. Normally, if you say 4 to 5 articles a year, this is more than enough. Or 3 to 5 Q1 articles, this is more than enough actually. But don't say I'll publish 21 articles or 30 or whatever. Normally, what we are getting is the benefit to the practical solution rather than the publication. But publication is an evidence that our work has been evaluated by experts in the field. So here in all proposal, there is a section inside the methodology called communication of result. This communication of result, you say the number of expected articles, where they might be published. And you could also say that we plan to present our work in these prestigious conferences in our field. We also plan to inform the community of what result we could have. So you could have a school visit, for example, if you are working on medicine or health sector, you could try to arrange some school visits. This is that we are giving back to the community, that we took the money from the community, from the university, and we need to give back something. So when you write the communication of result, it is not only publication, but it is also what other things that we can do to convey or to disseminate our result. And of course, I mean, nowadays it's very important to have like open access manuscript has become the norm now. So open access will give the society to read the articles. So normally now we are required, some funders require that you publish your work in an open access journal. So if it is a public funded money, then everyone should be able to see the results. But I'm not advocating for publishing in open access. I'm just saying that some funders will require work published from the project to appear in open access so everyone can see it. Some funders. I mean, of course, you have to mention in the proposal how the day-to-day activities will be managed. Like, for example, how many meetings you will meet with the student or with international collaborators, and how will you meet them face to face or whatever. I mean, of course, I mean, most funders would like to see published, but some kind of funder organization would like just to see technical report, and this has to be well documented in this section, the previous section, which is communication of result, as well as you could also say in data management, you should say that we have a logbook in the lab where we record the data and so on. So here I think most people miss these two sections in writing a proposal, but it's very important to have the communication of the result section as well as the data management, like how you are going to run the project, how often you will meet, what kind of activities are involved, if you generate the data, where those data will be stored and how long they will be kept, and so on. So everything has to be documented. Maybe I'll have a few minutes to talk about the budget. An important part of the proposal is the budget. So the budget say how much you need to run the project. It contains the salaries, monies for equipment, travel, publication cost, consumables or chemical software. So all these has to be clearly mentioned in the proposal and has to be justified. So when we write a proposal, we need to prepare a table like this. Like, this is how much money I need for year 1, year 2, and how much monies will go for salary, how much money will go for travel, for equipment, for maintenance, for software, for materials, for characterization, for everything. And then we need to justify it. So, for example, we need 5,000 dirham to attend this conference somehow. This conference is important. We need this much money to pay the salary. And of course, your list of references must be complete, correct? So make sure you use one style of referencing. And we also need to attach one-page CV. So this one-page CV will tell the reviewer who we are, like what are our qualifications, what are our previous grants, what is our previous experience in carrying out this project, and so on. So normally they require short CV, 2 pages format CV. Well, you are not done. When you finish writing the proposal, you need to go back to improve the abstract, to make sure all sections in the proposal are connected in a nice way. If you are giving it to another colleague to read it, you need to allow him some time. So give him or give her a week before the deadline of the of submitting the proposal, and make sure. I mean, even if the proposal is poorly written, you need to make sure the abstract is nicely written, and the aims and objectives written in the first page are clearly demonstrated. Well, of course, you need to check for the silly typos. You don't want your proposal to be rejected just because of typos. This will be very frustrating. So some reviewers, I mean, not all people are positive. Some reviewers are very negative. They will reject the proposal just based on the typos, no matter how brilliant your idea are. Well, final check, make sure that your objectives are clear. Make sure you use the font size that the funder wants. So make sure you stick with the format, what that funding organization wants. And make sure to have no spelling errors. Make sure to have positive words in the proposal, as I said. and send the proposal early to the research office. If there are some mistakes, they will have a chance to correct it and send it to you. So after the proposal, normally normal proposal requires several months to be announced. But if you are funded, then that's good. Congratulations, you will get the money. You will do the research you want. If the proposal is not funded, then it's not the end of the world. You will have the comments. You will try to improve it. Then you try to submit it again, or you will try to recycle it. So after all, 50% of the written proposal are fundable. They are good proposal. Like normally 50% are good proposal. So, but eventually only 10 to 20% may be funded. And actually sometimes it depends on the luck, but you try to do your best in writing the proposal. Okay, so if you need additional resources, I can send this presentation if anyone is interested. But there are some additional resources for someone to be expert in grant writing. This title is very strange. It's grant writing for dummies, but I found it very nice box. And there are different free resources that may help you to be an excellent grant writer. So remember, grant writing is a very important academic skill. It is as important as writing the publications. I guess that's what the times allow us, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Professor. That was very, very interesting. It was very detailed. So I'm really appreciative of your efforts. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you have any question for me? Anyway, if you have a question, you are more than welcome to email me. If you would like a copy of this presentation, I'll be happy to send it to you. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.